What is the new Naval Experience Program? Today we'll be taking a look at what the program offers to applicants, what is the difference between the Naval Experience Program and existing entry options, what are the pros and cons, and we'll talk about the application process. Let's roll the video and take a look.
Looking for a meaningful career, a new experience, an adventure? The Royal Canadian Navy's new, fully paid one-year Naval Experience Program.
All right, so let's start with 1 year. So 1 year is significant because in other existing entry programs currently for full-time employment with the regular force in the Canadian Armed Forces, typically the initial terms of service is going to be 3 to 5 or even 7+ years, depending on the occupation that you select, how much training is required for that occupation, if you're receiving any paid education, and other factors. So the fact that the Navy is currently offering a 1-year entry program is the only element of the Armed Forces currently doing that. You're not going to see that in the Air Force or the Army. So that 1 year is significant. And the other point here is fully paid. So fully paid, what that means is the salary is the same as other full-time members of the Canadian Armed Forces joining. So if you join in one of the existing entry programs or you join the Naval Experience Program, the pay is going to be the same, and all of the details of the pay are available on canada.ca, and I'll put a link in the description.
Might be for you. Participants will get 1 year of exposure to all the Navy has to offer. You will get to see it all.
All right, participants will get 1 year of exposure to all the Navy has to offer. What does that mean? So one of the biggest differences between the Naval Experience Program and existing entry programs is that currently when you apply to the Canadian Armed Forces, you're going to select your occupation as a part of the application process. So a big part of my job as a recruiter is to give you information about all the available occupations. We're going to give you information sheets. We're going to show you videos that you can watch. I'll take you for a tour of our unit and get you to talk to people who are in those jobs so you can ask them questions one-on-one. We really do our best to give you all the information that you can to make a decision on what occupation that you're going to select. So all of that is going to go into the decision, but all of that still is not as good as going to the coast, going on a ship, and seeing it for yourself firsthand. So with the Naval Experience Program, you're going to have the opportunity to do that because you will not select your occupation during the application process. You'll select your occupation at the end of the 1 year after you've had a chance to see all the different occupations firsthand, have some time to job shadow, have some time to really experience the Navy so that you can figure out which occupation is going to be the best fit for you.
You will travel, receive naval training, have a place to live with meals provided, all while earning a salary.
There you go. Travel. So the Naval Experience Program is offered currently on both coasts, and you'll be able to indicate during the application process what your preference is. So you'll either be doing training in Halifax, Nova Scotia, or Esquimalt, British Columbia. So you're going to get to live on one of those Canadian Forces bases on the coast while you're completing training. Basic military qualification is first, and that's typically done in Saint Jean, Quebec. But after that, you'll move on to Naval NETP, Naval Environmental Training Program, which is kind of like basic training round 2, but specific to the Navy, where you will be doing firefighting, damage control on a ship, general seamanship skills. It also mentioned here the accommodations, a place to live, and the meals, which is a huge benefit. So there'll be no cost to you while you're living and working for the entire duration of the year. It does say in the fine print in the application that it is a taxable benefit, so you will have to pay some tax on that, but the bulk of the cost will be covered by the Canadian Armed Forces.
After 1 year, you can decide if you want to continue to serve and apply for a trade that's the best fit for you, or leave, no strings attached.
There it is, no strings attached, the last catchphrase. So, as I said here, after the 1 year program, you can leave the Canadian Armed Forces with no strings attached, and you can select your occupation like we just talked about, and you can even decide if you're going to go full-time or part-time. So you can decide if you're enjoying your year and you want to keep going as a career, you can then start a terms of service, as we mentioned earlier, which could kind of be in that 3 to 5 or 7 year range. Or you could transfer to the Naval Reserve if you want to continue in the Navy, but just as part-time employment. That's an option as well. And if you're liking the military, but the Navy isn't a good fit for you, maybe you're getting seasick out there and it doesn't seem like a good lifestyle, then you can even transfer to the Army or the Air Force is an option.
A Navy career offers stability, benefits, paid education and training, lifelong friendships, and opportunities to make a difference both at home and abroad. With that said, the Navy is not for everyone. It can also be demanding and comes with unique challenges to rise above. Are you ready? Discover for yourself if the Navy is right for you. 1 year, fully paid. Adventure awaits.
1 year fully paid adventure awaits. Well, that sounds pretty good. One other thing they mentioned in there I just wanted to touch on was benefits. So in the Naval Experience Program, you'd be eligible for the same benefits package as other entry programs into the Canadian Armed Forces. I think this ad does a very good job of summarizing the Naval Experience Program. There's a lot to learn about this program, and this is just a very short piece. So today we're going to go into a little bit more detail, and we're going to do that by answering your questions that you've left online. So let's jump into that. Okay, first question. I applied for this back in March, and I'm still waiting for enrollment. Looking forward to the upcoming video. I know that you're essentially shadowing trades, but will applicants get a chance to get at completing parts of those trades DP1 and have that count towards qualification? What qualifications could I obtain while in NEP in addition to basic and NETP? All right, so let's dive right in. We'll talk about the application timeline in a moment. Let's start with completing occupational training in your question. So you're correct that you'll complete basic military qualification, which is 8 weeks in St. Jean, and then Naval Environmental Training Program, which is 5 weeks in Esquimalt. You likely will not move on to occupational training in a specific occupation because, as we just talked about, you're making the final decision on your occupation at the end of the program. Before that, you're going to be doing small bits of each occupation, job shadowing, getting the experience so that you can make an informed decision. That means that you likely will not do formal training to get qualified in any one of those occupations that you're job shadowing and trying out. I love how in your question here, you've asked what qualifications you might be able to get during the Naval Experience Program in addition to basic training and naval environmental training. So let's talk about that. In the recruiting materials that I have been provided with, there are some examples of general courses which you may be able to complete while in the Naval Experience Program. One of them is small boat training. Another example is the 1 week competent crew qualification, which could happen during sailing visits. You may have the opportunity to complete some language training. You may have the opportunity to complete the Naval Boarding Party course. That's really cool, Naval Boarding Party. And they even have listed here the Elongated Rescue Swimmer course, which is a 2-week course. So while you're job shadowing and trying out different occupations, you're not going to be able to progress in occupational training because you haven't selected your occupation, but any general courses that are available to more than one occupation, you may be able to fit into your schedule and start to get some formal training and qualifications going during your 1 year Naval Experience Program. Second half of your question is, that being said, I applied back when they had this advertised as a 21-day enrollment. I'm even past a 21-week enrollment. Okay, so the 21-day enrollment is theoretically possible. A flowchart exists where all the application steps could be completed within 21 days. And I think that they even did one in that period of time to show that it is possible. But in general, there are delays in a vast majority of applications, and the average processing time is about 3 to 6 months. In addition to that, the Director General of Defense Security has assessed that a more intensive security screening process is required for some applicants who have lived outside of Canada during the last 10 years, and these can take 6 to 18 months for security clearance. Thank you for your question, and good luck in your application. Next question, is there opportunities to go to sea even on day sails or a week here and there? I have an application in. Waiting to hear back, just curious. Thank you for your question. Yes, Naval Experience Program participants will get a chance to be assigned to a ship for several weeks. This could include time alongside, which means import. This could be time at sea, and this could even include foreign port visits. Applicants should keep in mind that Canadian warships will not be catering their mission itinerary to make sure that every Naval Experience Program member will get a foreign port visit. You'll be participating in the ship's activities during the time of your assignment to that ship. One exciting point to mention is that all platforms in the fleet will be used to facilitate sea time and job shadowing. So this includes Canadian Patrol frigates, the Maritime Coastal Defense vessels, the Arctic Offshore Patrol ships, Orca-class ships, HMCS Oriole, our sailing ship, and potentially even our Victoria-class submarines while in port. Next up, are reservists that are already in the Canadian Armed Forces allowed into the Naval Experience Program? The short answer is yes, but this only makes sense in certain circumstances. The Naval Experience Program is an entry program, so this only really makes sense if you're a brand new member. So if you've just recently been enrolled and you just weren't aware of the Naval Experience Program, it may be possible to switch. But if you've been in for a year or even like 6 months and you've already completed basic training and naval environmental training and other training, then it really doesn't make sense to switch at that point. Would you be eligible for signing bonuses once you complete the NEP and you select a trade that offers signing bonuses? The answer is no. So I would strongly encourage you, if you have education or experience that may qualify you for a signing bonus, make sure if you're considering the Naval Experience Program that you ask the recruiter if you qualify for any signing bonuses. And if you do, then I do not recommend the Naval Experience Program, because if you complete the Naval Experience Program, you're no longer eligible for signing bonuses. It's a very important point, so make sure you discuss it with your recruiter. One commenter said, what's the catch? Be 18 plus. So this isn't entirely accurate. You can apply to the Naval Experience Program at the age of 17, so you don't have to be 18. If you're under 18, you do need parental consent. And if you're 16 and you're interested in the Navy, well, then you can join the Naval Reserve. You're eligible to apply to the Naval Reserve with parental consent at the age of 16. Basically, the reasoning is we don't want people dropping out of high school early to join the military. So if you're joining the reserves, it's on evenings and weekends, so you can continue to attend school while you're a reservist, so you can join at 16. And then for the regular force programs, you have to be completed grade 10 high school, and you have to be 17 years of age, and you have to have parental consent if you're under 18. Is this program available for direct entry officers? Great question. The Naval Experience Program is designed for non-commissioned members, and all of the job shadowing is going to focus on NCM occupations. That being said, at the end of the one-year program, if you do have your university degree and you qualify for an officer role, you can discuss with your personnel selection officer when you're making your occupation selection. That may be a possibility to continue with your career as an officer. However, if you qualify as an officer and you qualify for the direct entry program, I would probably just recommend going straight into the direct entry program rather than the NEP. I've heard that there may be an officer version of the Naval Experience Program in the works in the future, but currently it's focused on non-commissioned member occupations. Thank you to those who left comments. Those were a lot of great questions, and I hope that answering them helped others. I just got a couple more here that were Instagram direct messages. I've cropped them out so you can't see the names here. They'll remain anonymous, but I thought they were really good questions too, so let's take a look at those. After doing more research, I'm thinking about going for the Naval Experience Program to see if the Navy is the right fit for me. I'm not sure if you have any information on that program. It seems fairly new. I know that during the program you are stationed in Nova Scotia or BC. I'm just not sure if you are there for the whole year or if you get to go back to your town at some point during the year. This is a great question. Let's talk about it. First of all, you're correct. As we mentioned before, the program will take place in both Esquimalt and Halifax, and you'll be able to indicate your preference during the application process. And all Naval Experience Program participants will be allocated a minimum of 20 days of annual leave, the same as other Canadian Armed Forces members, which means that's 20 days off that you can take at any point that works in your schedule throughout your 1 year, where you will be able to fly home or do whatever you want with your time off. In addition, NEP members will be eligible for the Leave Travel Allowance benefits in accordance with regulations. This is a great program. I utilized it myself once while working away from home, and basically it's a benefit that will cover the expenses for you to travel home and see your family while you're stationed away from home. So there's some stipulations that you need to meet in order to qualify for this, but if you can make it work, it's a great benefit to be able to have the military pay for your plane ticket home to visit your family. Next question here. Hello, Mr. James Fraser. I've seen some of your YouTube videos since my interest in the CAF has constantly grown over the years, and I thank you. They have been informative. I was curious if you have heard any feedback or anyone's personal experience so far with the Naval Experience Program. Great question. And I've enrolled a couple members of the Naval Experience Program, and they've gone off to do their thing. I haven't heard back from them yet, but I should check in with them. That's a great idea. One other resource we do have is the Royal Canadian Navy on their YouTube channel have been following the first ever Naval Experience Program enrollee.
I'm Sailor Third Class Hassan from Burnaby, British Columbia. With this program, I get to travel the world, experience everything that the Navy has to offer. So with this program, I can try everything and see which one I like first, and then sign a contract for that after. So far, they've been really good to me, and they're showing me everything that they can. I think it was the first week I got here, all of a sudden it was just a whole bunch of tours of everything that I've never even seen before. So it was like going to the ships. Then let's go see what these guys are doing and what are these trades doing. And it was just like a really good experience for me to actually get like hands-on experience on the ship.
One other thing I will note, in that video, he talks about his experience with the application process briefly. He says that he applied in December of 2022 and he was enrolled in June of 2023. So his testimonial there does fall more into line with the timeline that I was talking about at the beginning of the video. And now we've circled back around to the timeline. It's the perfect time to transition into talking about the application process. You're interested in the Naval Experience Program. How do you apply? For the NEP, you apply at the same place as you would for any other Canadian Armed Forces entry program, which is at forces.ca. And in the section where it asks you which entry program you would like, you select Naval Experience Program. I have a video called How to Apply to the Navy Part-Time, which you can check out with application information. I put it out a couple years ago, but it's still pretty accurate, and it's going to have a detailed explanation on how to complete the online application. And the only difference is where it says entry plan, you're going to select Naval Experience Program. Once you've completed the online application, you're going to begin processing your application at a Naval Reserve Division. That is one thing that is unique about the Naval Experience Program compared to the regular force. Usually, applications for the regular force are done at the CFRC, the Canadian Forces Recruiting Centers. However, for the Naval Experience Program, because it's the Navy, your local Naval Reserve Division is going to be processing your application. And there are 24 Naval Reserve Divisions across Canada, so most major city centers in Canada have a Naval Reserve Division, which you can easily look up online at the Find a Recruiter page, which I will link in the description. So if you complete the online application and you select Naval Experience Program, it should go through the system, they'll receive it, and they'll contact you. However, you can speed up the process if you know where your local Naval Reserve Division is. You complete the online application and right away contact them directly. You might shave a tiny bit of time off your application process, so I recommend doing that if you have the ability to do so. Next up, you'll be scheduling your initial processing appointment. And again, the big difference here between a normal Naval Reserve application and a Naval Experience Program application is the fitness test, the force evaluation. The force evaluation is not required for the Naval Experience Program, just like the regular force. In the reserves, we do it as a part of the application process, but for the regular force and the Naval Experience Program, you're going to do it once you arrive at basic military qualification. Once you're scheduled for an initial processing appointment with your local Naval Reserve Division, one of the first things you'll be doing is the Canadian Forces Aptitude Test, or CFAT. And I have a great video available on CFAT preparation, so I recommend you check that out to make sure you ace the test. And at this initial appointment, you'll also be submitting all of your documents and forms. So when you do the online application, and again, I recommend you check out my step-by-step video. You're gonna have to bring in all your ID, your educational transcripts, your references, and all of the forms and things that they ask for on the online application. After you've completed the CFAT and submitted all of your documentation, the recruiting staff will initiate the security clearance. At the same time, we'll be looking at booking your medical. The medical will be done at the Canadian Forces Recruiting Centre, the CFRC, because we do not have medical staff at the local NRDs. So you'll have to go to CFRC to do your medical. And also we'll be scheduling your interview, which will be done with recruiters at the Naval Reserve Division. So easy thing to remember is all of the steps of the application will be done at the Naval Reserve Divisions, except for the medical, which is done at the CFRC. Once your security clearance is granted, you've completed your medical, and you've successfully completed your interview with your Naval Reserve Division recruiter, you're then eligible for enrollment. Your enrollment ceremony will be scheduled shortly before the beginning of the basic military qualification. You'll do your ceremony. You can bring guests, friends, and family to watch you become a member of the Canadian Armed Forces and swear your oath. And shortly after that, you'll travel to basic military qualification to begin your Naval Experience Program year. Let's talk about the pros and cons. What's the catch? Honestly, I don't think there really is a catch. That might be a little bit of a clickbait title here, but there are a couple of cons, so let's talk about them. I think the biggest con is the signing bonuses. If you complete the Naval Experience Program, you are not eligible for any signing bonuses. So I highly recommend that if you're applying to the Canadian Armed Forces and you're considering the Naval Experience Program, that first you talk to your recruiter about your education and your civilian work experience and see if you meet criteria for any of the signing bonuses, because you don't want to pass up the opportunity for a signing bonus. And if you are eligible for a signing bonus, make sure you choose the entry program where you're going to get that bonus. That's one thing that I just kind of want to highlight in general, is that the Naval Experience Program is a new entry program into the Canadian Armed Forces, but all of the other entry programs are still available and still exist. So if it's not for you, we can help you find something that is a better fit. The other con, as I talked about before, is that because you're selecting your occupation at the end of the program, is that you're not going to be able to progress with your formal qualifications and occupational training in that occupation. So if you're someone who has a pretty good idea of what you want to do in the Navy and you've got an occupation that you're pretty set on already, then maybe the Naval Experience Program isn't for you and you should go on one of our existing entry programs. If you're not sure and you want to learn more, that's really who this Naval Experience Program is for. And now for the pros. I've touched on most of these already, but 1 year. So the fact that it's a 1-year program, this is the only program that you can join the regular forces and make a full salary without making a long-term commitment. So it would work really, really well for someone who's considering like a gap year. If you're graduating high school and you want to work for 1 year with the Navy, make over $40,000 for 1 year of employment, and then at the end be able to switch potentially to the reserves to be just part-time while you go to university, or maybe you qualify for one of the subsidized education programs. There's lots of different options that you could look at after your 1 year and just do that kind of 1 year gap year. Another pro obviously is the accommodations and meals like we talked about. That is going to be a way to save a lot of money during your initial year, which makes the salary that much better. The other pro, of course, is the ability to see all of the different occupations firsthand before you make your decision, so that you can have a lot of experience to base your decision on and find an occupation that's going to be the right fit for you. In general, my opinion is that this is a very exciting opportunity. This is something that potentially I would have considered back when I joined the Navy if it was an option. Then the idea that you can go to the coast, get time at sea, see what the Navy has to offer, get a full-time salary, get your accommodations and your meals paid for, all without making any kind of long-term commitment and having the option at the end of the program to do what you want to do. There doesn't seem to be a catch. This is a very attractive program. I think it's addressing some of the issues with recruiting that you may have heard in the media. They're trying to attract people to the Navy to get you excited by offering something that really is pretty great. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them, and we'll talk to you next time.